Self-esteem is one of those terms that's thrown around all over the place, and we all want a high sense of self-esteem, and we try to strive for it as much as possible, and we say we've got it, but what is self-esteem? Where does it come from? How do we get the current self-esteem that we have? And what are some actual actionable steps that we can do to improve our self-esteem? Well, first off, there are a few different definitions. If you go to different textbooks or even different pop psychology books, everyone's going to have a little bit of a different variation on what they consider self-esteem. Esteem essentially means respect and admiration. So self-esteem means having respect and admiration for yourself. And the reason it's so difficult to have that respect and admiration for ourselves sometimes is because when you look at someone and you say, I respect that person or I admire that person, you get to choose which person you respect and admire. But when it comes to us, we don't have a choice. We only have ourselves to respect and admire. And sometimes the qualities that we see don't line up with the qualities that we see in others that we respect and admire. So it's a training process for us to learn to respect and admire the qualities that are within ourselves. Respect is a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. So if you have a certain set of abilities, qualities, and achievements that you respect and admire in other people, but you don't have those same qualities, of course it's natural that you're not going to hold yourself to that same level of respect, because why would you? And it's not about changing our list of qualities and abilities that we use to gauge our respect and admiration for others. It's learning to add to that list the qualities and abilities that are within ourselves. So what happened in our past to get us to our current level of self-esteem? In 1980, there was a guy named William James that stated it's based on the number of pretensions that we have. And pretensions essentially means the number of successes that we have related to our number of aspirations. Let's say that you're going to a New Year's Eve party and something on your list of aspirations is to have high social status. You may want to go to that New Year's Eve party with a date, because if you go with a date, you're going to get some more social currency, thus your self-esteem is going to be improved. But if one of your aspirations is to get good grades at your school, maybe your task isn't to go to a New Year's Eve party. Maybe your task instead is to study on New Year's Eve night, and that's going to boost your self-esteem. If you get thwarted into going to a New Year's Eve party when one of your aspirations is to be a good student, maybe your self-esteem is actually going to suffer because it's not aligned with what you actually want to do. So one of the ways that we naturally like the qualities within us happens when we're really, really young, when we're children actually. It's one of the determining factors when we have a good friend. Naturally, if you have a good friend, it's telling yourself that there's someone who likes you enough to be close to you, which means that you must be a good person and you must have good traits. This was information that came out of the Virginia longitudinal study of child maltreatment. And what they found was that maltreated children actually had lower self-esteem than compared to others who didn't have any maltreatment, unless that maltreated child had at least one good friend. And they realized if that maltreated child had at least one good friend, then between the grades of 3 and 5, their self-esteem improved. And if they stayed with that friend all the way to 7th grade, their self-esteem at that point was on par with children who didn't have maltreatment. Having a close friend is a subconscious cue to you that you have good qualities and you should thus like who you are as a person. And ultimately what they find is that even when they look at people across the lifespan, your self-esteem gradually improves as you age. So as adults, what are the things that we can do to improve our self-esteem? We can change how we process our current experiences, we can change how we view our own characteristics, or we can reevaluate our experiences in the past. This is where a good therapist comes in. They're able to process a lot of those emotions with you, a lot of those past experiences, and reframe a lot of those self-critical thoughts that we tell ourselves. But one of the first steps that you can take for yourself right now is increasing your self-compassion. Dr. Kristen Neff of the University of Texas's Self-Compassion Research Lab talks about 3 main qualities that encompass self-compassion: creating self-kindness, which is being kind to yourself whenever you make a mistake; having a common humanity, which is essentially agreeing that pain and discomfort and failure is a part of the human experience; and developing mindfulness. And developing mindfulness is simply being aware of your thoughts and being okay with all of the random thoughts that are coming into your head. A second key step that you can take for yourself is that when you make a real big mistake, try to talk to yourself as if you were a good friend, because we realize that we're more kind to others than we are to ourselves. So if you imagine that one of your friends has gone through the same experience and you talk to them with a more compassionate tone, You're going to realize your words are kinder and your meanings are going to be more helpful. Step 3 is something that I do actually every single day, and that's you identify your abilities, your qualities, and your achievements. In my journal, I write down into one of the first few sentences the qualities and the achievements that I like about myself, that I appreciate about myself. And if you have to, start small. This could be tiny little things such as, I like the fact that I put my shoes away when I get in the house. I like the fact that I stick my pens back in the pen box. As you get to do this, you're going to realize there's lots of things that you like about yourself, and the more you say them to yourselves, the more they get reinforced and the more you start to believe them. Eventually, you can work your way up, and those tiny things that you like about yourself, you could start to chunk together. And you can start to say then with more authenticity, I like that I'm a clean person. I like that I'm organized. I like that I take time to enjoy myself. Number 4 is to experience new experiences, to try new things. As scary as they are, the more things that you try, you could start to take a step back and realize, well, I didn't do as well as I could have in this activity, obviously because it's my first time doing it, but what did I do well in? What did I like about this activity? What does that say about me? And then jot it down and reiterate that to yourself. And number 5 kind of goes along with a number of these steps, and that is just holding a gratitude journal. Write down every day 5 good things that happened to you. And what does that say about you? Write down the positive qualities that you recognize in yourself as you pass through the day. And the more times that you do this, the more times you practice this, your brain's going to be wired to start noticing these things during your actual day. And then you're just going to naturally be more kind to yourself. I hope you found this helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you found any of these resonate with you, if there are any activities that you do to boost your self-esteem. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.